Whether it's by way of magic wand or rubbing a genie lamp, we all have our perfect vision of a Flames offseason.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I'm your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. All of us love to play like general manager, armchair GM. We think we would navigate certain things differently. And today we're in the driver's seat. We are fully in the driver's seat today because I'm going to share my perfect off season and what I might do as a Flames general manager. But before we dive into all that, please make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. If I had it my way, we would just fast forward to new arena, first overall draft pick. Like we would have a team that is ready to compete. But unfortunately, we do kind of have to go through the lumps and the bumps of a reconstruction, retooling, rebuilding, reconfiguring, whatever you're like, just enjoy it, right? Okay, call it what you want. We can't just gatekeep and police what other people are using when it comes to this fandom, but we all know that the Flames are looking to get better. That's the mission at the end of the day. I think, in order for that to happen, though, you're gonna have to get worse, and it's not going to be as bad as San Jose or Chicago because you do have too many talented players on your roster to get to that point, and some people really are for or against the rebuild. Like, it is fully a spectrum, and I feel like you can't win regardless of what side you're on. Either way, the Flames need to get better. It's like I said, they are not lacking talent enough, or they have too much talent to get to like where the Sharks or Chicago or the Blue Jackets are, and the Ducks. But it's gonna be tough. Let's not let's not sugarcoat it. We all know that it's gonna be a tough few seasons, and we're just gonna have to pull up our pants and ride through it because it's what comes along with building a championship team. It happens. And we have heard reports that some players would like to be traded should the Flames decide to enter the rebuilding phase or if they start stinking. And I think that that's fair. Some of these players are, we know that Kadri is one of them. This was something that was talked a little bit about last off season and to start the season. And again, reports can change. You never know. But from what it sounds like, he would be willing to move on. And we thank him for his flexibility because what would we do without it? Markstrom, it's not a matter of if, but when. And we've talked about it ad nauseum so far, and it's only a month without Flames hockey, but the Flames are they soiled that relationship with Jacob Markstrom, which stinks. Jacob Markstrom seems like a lovely man, a competitive man, a man that can hold down the fort. And I believe that he will, if he hasn't already, submit a trade request. And that's his prerogative. I do not blame him. I think that that's fair, especially if he thought he was going to be a New Jersey Devil when they were out east in February. Like, that relationship, feel like the ship has sailed there. It would sting regardless. If you're getting rid of core guys like Kadri, Markstrom, probably Mangiapane too. More than likely Mangiapane. It's going to be tough. And you throw in a guy like Blake Coleman, right? Blake Coleman signed a 6-year deal here, expecting to play alongside Gaudreau and Kachuk. And that didn't happen for long. And I just, oh, we're going to be unpacking that summer for a very, very long time here on Locked On Flames. But, you can still get things for these players, and you can clear up cap space to do a little bit more, have some flexibility. The former Arizona Coyotes, we joked about them being a money laundering team. Maybe the Flames become the new money laundering team with all that cap space. Who knows? But I think the biggest thing here is that you probably shouldn't buy any jerseys, at least the ones with names on them, for a little bit, because unless they have like a no movement or like no trade clause, do not do it. I mean, really, even like Markstrom could be on the way out, and he has protection. So, you know, just buy a blank jersey or just save your money and put it towards season ticket deposits or something. I don't know. But we're going to take a break here, and we'll come back with my wish list, my grocery store list of what I would do if I were the Flames general manager, or what my wish list is, because man, oh man, the Flames they can't keep doing it like this. They simply cannot. And we will be right back right after this. Game Time is your number one app for buying tickets this summer. Game Time makes getting tickets to the NBA Finals even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip off. And with killer last minute deals, all in prices, view from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. I used Game Time to watch the Flames in person on Long Island this past season, and I am so glad that I did that, because not only did I get a great deal, I got great seats for a less expensive price than I ever thought I would pay. Save even more with exclusive in-deal apps on select seats ahead of the game or the event. It's not just sporting events, it's concerts, it's theater, comedy shows. Look up any local event in your area, and you might find some tickets on Game Time. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA final tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on Twitter, X, Instagram, at Jess Belmosto, and I am revamping our show's Instagram page, Locked On Flames. Oh, boy. So when I was putting this list together, right, I was sitting in the break room at work. There is not a single hockey fan in my workplace. No one. So I couldn't bounce ideas off of anyone. I had to think of this on my own. I had to really dig deep to think about what I would want to do for the Flames. Number one would obviously be the new arena. We talked about this. Fast forward time, get our franchise player, have a nice new home in the same city, and be ready to go. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Doesn't work like that. I wish it did. But let's start with other wishes that maybe will get us to our new home. And that would be Martin Pospisil at center. Okay? This was talked about a lot throughout the season, especially when he first was called up and then when, that time was kind of extending and it just didn't happen. And eventually the conversation just died because Ryan Huska wasn't going to do it. So what was the point of continuing this conversation? And it did happen. After the trade deadline, we saw Martin Pospisil at center and he looked great. He hadn't played at center since playing juniors, which had been a few years at that point. And for someone who hadn't done it in a while, it certainly looked very natural. I think some players are able to be kind of versatile like that. And Martin Pospisil is one of those players. He is someone that, you can throw pretty much anywhere in the lineup and he's going to be effective to a certain degree. And that's what I like about him. Now, with him being at center, you have a few things. You have a few things you have to worry about, right? Number one is finding him wingers. No, probably won't be that hard. Not going to be as hard as finding a solid center. A solid, competitive, through and through center. Martin Pospisil. He looked great at Worlds as a center as well. So we know that he can do it in multiple variations of talent around him. Okay. Wes Gilbertson actually put out a really great article discussing this and how it would benefit him, obviously offensively, but also taking less penalties, which would be so nice. That would be, I don't know. I think that might actually be like my number one thing is taking less penalties as a team as a whole. We got rid of the high sticking from Zadorov. We got rid of that. And that's really it. We just gotta work on Pospisil and his roughing interference. Maybe don't board people too. Might be a good idea. But no, in all seriousness, like why not? Why not try it? Your organization is lacking depth down the middle, right? This is something that has been a topic of conversation for the last 4 years that I've covered this team. And you don't have Elias Lindholm anymore. So why not try and get creative with this? You aren't missing out on anything if you continue this experiment. I think it'd be great, especially trying Kadri with other players or for the off chance he does get traded. If things go south, I don't think that he is going to hesitate to be see ya. Not because he's a quitter, but because he doesn't want to spend his final years in a rebuilding situation. And that's that. Can't blame him. But it'd be something to, keep an eye on. I think obviously we're not going to see it for a few months, but once training camp starts back up, let's keep an eye out for it. We don't know what Ryan Huska is going to do. We do not know what he has up his sleeve. So we will be waiting with bated breath. Speaking of waiting, we will be waiting for another player like Igor Sharangovich. I think that this player could easily be Dawson Mercer or Alexander Holtz from the Devils in return for Jacob Markstrom. It wouldn't surprise me if Alexander Holtz is part of the package that comes back if he is still traded to New Jersey. But the biggest goal here is to grab someone that's young, that you have team control and, few years of team control, because you can eventually extend them, right? You want an RFA. You want to have that control of a player, and where like, that sounds horrible, but you want to get a player that you know you can hold on to for quite some time and make him part of your organization, and hopefully either flip him because he's doing so well or make him part of the organization long term. The Flames they desperately need those top 6 scoring pieces. You have Connor Zary, who has been great, and I look forward to seeing what he does this upcoming season. You have Sharon Govich, great. I don't really know what else you've got. Mangiapane is pretty streaky. Blake Coleman did have a great year. But, like, that's not your top 6. Your middle 6. It's your third line. And then say, you know, Coronado comes up. He's gonna need time to acclimate. Like, you need to figure it out either with a guy in the organization and just let him ride the lumps of getting situated and accustomed to the NHL, or you're gonna have to go out and acquire this guy through a trade. It's not something that I don't think it's impossible to do. I think it's a matter of finding, like, the right piece. Everyone kind of brushed off Igor Sharangovich because of the down year that he had, myself included. He did not do well in New Jersey the season prior to him being traded, the season that they had just come off of, and the bar was kind of very low, which, I mean, good thing it was, because he exceeded those expectations and had a great season. And so I hope that we are able to find someone like that for them, middle 6 and then graduate to the top 6. Oh man, there's gonna come a point where there's an $11 million player on the third line. I just thought about that. Wow. Thanks, Brad Tree Living. Anyways, now let's talk about the cream of the crop right here, okay? A true 1C. Yes, your 1C. Sean Monahan. A Backlund. Elias Lindholm. I don't know if I think the only one there was probably Backlund. That was like no, he's very strong defensively. So that's where you got me as a 1C. But no, in all seriousness, like, this team needs to find some center depth, but they also need to find a 1C, okay? They do not have a bona fide 1C. They have not had one in the 4 years I've been covering this team. You can say Elias Lindholm. He had one really strong season, and that's that. I just want something. You need to find a diamond in the rough in a trade. You need to draft him. You have to figure something out. Otherwise, this reconstruction phase is going to last a lot longer than you want it to. And coming up next, we're going to wrap up the show going over your wish lists, because what is the Calgary Flames fandom thinking? And we'll be back right after this. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you are subscribed wherever you're getting your podcasts, as well as YouTube. So I posted on X earlier today, if you could wave a magic wand, what would be the one thing you accomplish for the Flames this offseason? With a nice little gift for the fairy godmother from Cinderella. I collected some replies, and let's start with Justin from Sea of Red Central. And he says, for them to get their next franchise player in the draft. I think that that's delightful. I think that that would be really the goal, because they are without one. And you can say that, you know, well, there's a lot of young guys coming up and they could be the next friend. No. You have to have elite qualities and elite properties of your game to be the next franchise player. And I don't know if that is going to be found anywhere in the Flames lineup. I mean that literally lovingly. I promise. Tim says competent leadership from top to bottom. Isn't that something we all want for our favorite teams, but especially the ones that are so stubborn? Man, imagine. Sometimes I think about uh the idea that we had of Daryl like stepping down as coach after his 2 years, so what would have been like this year, and then becoming general manager. Sometimes I wake up in a cold sweat thinking about that. I'm gonna be real honest. Craig Conroy, you have saved us from we don't even know if that was gonna happen, so thank you. But I think I really do feel like Conroy and Huska have done a really good job for their first year. Given the circumstances and the tools that they had to work with and the messes that they had to clean up, I would say it went pretty well. Now, do I think I would give them more credit had someone at the top not nixed a trade for Jacob Markstrom? Allegedly, supposedly, rumors, streets are saying. Yeah, of course. I would absolutely say this was a slam dunk year for Craig Conroy in his first year as a general manager, and I have more hope and excitement for this team. This is the second year in a row the owners have gotten in the way of something pretty significant uh, in the organization that would have done them some good. In 2022, 2023, they obviously, Brad Treliving went to the owners and said, I need to fire Daryl Sutter. And they said no. And that's when Brad Treliving was like, okay, I'm packing this up. Like, I'm never going to be able to accomplish my job. Now he's ruining Toronto fans' lives. So thank you. And then, of course, this year it's Jacob Markstrom, because you don't want to retain money because you think that you can win a Stanley Cup with this roster, and you want to see that because you don't think you'll ever see it otherwise. I'm going to say a potential hot take here. I would say in like 6 years from now, when Dustin Wolf is settled, obviously an NHL veteran at that point, I would have faith in that team being like a Stanley Cup caliber team versus what they have iced right now. And then I don't know who this is, but their Twitter handle is FSN2 Nasty, and their display name is When Will the Pain and Suffering End? I hope they're talking about the Flames because otherwise I'm very sorry for laughing. Team to be sold to ambitious owners. Yeah, that I think that that's a realistic wish. It's not like you're going out here and saying I want them to trade for Connor McDavid. Like, it's something that you aspire to, but like, this is realistic. This is something that, you know, that could be obtainable. I think it would take a lot for that to happen, but it's a reasonable wish, I guess. Um, this is from Flames Fever on X or Twitter. I believe it's Ray Ray. In his profile picture, or their profile picture, I can't tell who that is. I apologize, internet. But get the rights to Kent Johnson. That would be nice, but I don't know how they would accomplish that. And this is also, if you haven't listened to the show before, haven't listened in a while, I don't know how to properly assemble trade packages. Simply because I either overvalue or undervalue one side of the deal. And I don't like doing that. I don't know how the Flames could do that, but I also remember last year when Flames fans thought that they were going to trade Elias Lindholm to Columbus and get the 3rd overall draft pick with Fantilli. So, I mean, truly, you never know. But I think that Don Waddell is going to be playing hardball in Columbus. I think that he is going to be a lot different than what the organization is used to. And that's fine. I mean, hey, bar rescue, Hell's Kitchen, super nanny, whatever. Like we all need a little tough love now and then, right? And I think that that's exciting for the Blue Jackets fan base. I think, you have someone that has a proven track record of like building a team up right here. So be interesting. I look forward to seeing that, and it would be really nice to see that. And thank you all for hanging out with me today on Lockdown Flames. I hope you all had a fantastic, fantastic week. Make sure to stay warm or stay cool this weekend, whatever the weather is where you are, and make sure to be kind to one another. Check up on your friends. That'll do it for me here on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're getting your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. And until next time, see you later.